Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Okay, good. We had done this whole thing and didn't record it. I'd be like, fuck.
that'd be so bad.
Wait, what? Yeah. Okay. Are you ready? Okay, it's all
Ready.
you.
Hey, hi, my name is Samantha. I'm an alcoholic addict. I struggled with a IV meth addiction for 15 years. Um, I'll start off with my childhood. I grew up in a close-knit, dysfunctional family. So, I mean, we were all really close and uncles were over all the time, but everyone was drinking, everyone was using. It was normal. Um, there was a bunch of like sexual assault in the family that they hid from everyone. So there was like a lot of, I grew up with a lot of shame. Um, and I lived in like constant fear. My stepdad was an alcoholic and he was physically and mentally abusive. Um, I remember like one of my youngest memories is like holding my little brother's ears while my mom was screaming and I was singing so he couldn't hear mom. And so me and my brothers formed this like really strong bond from like very, very early in age. And it went on like that for years and years until I was 15. When I turned 15, I intentionally got pregnant. It took me 6 months to get pregnant, but it was my way out. I knew in the state of Oklahoma, if you have a child, you're automatically emancipated. You can get your own apartment. It was a way to get me and my brothers out of where we were at. Um, so I got pregnant. I had my daughter. I got custody of my little brothers at 16 years old. Had a full-time job, 3 trucks. Had never used anything in my life. Life was pretty good, you know. I mean, it was stressful, but I was doing it. Um, and then I got pregnant at 17 with my second daughter, and she ended up passing away. And my little brothers were her pallbearers. They actually put her in the ground. And I think that is where everything changed in my life 100%. Not only for me, but for my mom, my brothers. What used to be a close knit dysfunctional family turned into us not talking for years. When we did, we argued, we blamed each other. My brother started using IV meth at, I think he was 11 years old. He lost all of his teeth by the time he was 15. Um, and we were just on this, I lost custody of my other daughter, and we were just on this, like slowly trying to kill ourselves without even realizing that's what we were doing. And me and my brother were just enabling each other the whole way. And well, every time I'd move somewhere, he'd move in with me. My daughter stayed in custody. There was a couple times where I would get 6 months sober, or I would get pregnant again, and I would be sober for the pregnancy. I'd have my daughter, and I'd have her for a few months or a year, 2 years, but then I'd relapse. And as soon as I did, back into the system. I'm lucky enough that my aunt has custody of one of my children, and the rest are with my father. Um, which I didn't meet till later on in life, but he's absolutely an amazing grandpa. And so me and my brother, it was just us, thick as thieves. We were doing, we were spending every dollar we had in the casino, um, allegedly stealing trucks and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, there were so many times that I didn't know whether or not I was going to make it through the day. Held at gunpoint, my door kicked in, like, I mean, just jail after jail after jail. I was actually towards the end of my run. I was almost beaten to death, and I was robbed. And it was they took my phone and everything, and I had no one to call. And I was in this apartment by myself, and I was pretty sure I had a concussion because I walked around in a circle for 45 minutes and didn't know what to do. And from there, I was too scared to be in my apartment, so I went to stay with a friend, and I took in a friend that I had just met with me, and he stole my car. So the next thing I know, I'm in this camper in the middle of the woods, and there's no electric, there's no running water. Everyone's peeing in a bucket, and it's just like awful. There's feces everywhere. And I was like, is this what my life is really, is this really what it's like? Like, just, you know, it's going to be like this. Just take me. I don't want to live like this anymore. And so I would stay drunk. I would drink vodka as soon as my eyes opened, and I would drink it until I was just, I mean, just out of it. And one of my friends messaged me on Facebook and was like, when are you going to stop having one foot in and one foot out? Like, you want to be better, but you're still doing the same bad stuff. And I told him, like, I don't know what the first step to saving my life would be. Like, all I could think of was I needed to end it. And he offered me a trip to California to get into treatment. And I gladly said yes. And then he said it was going to take 9 days for me to get on the plane. And that was probably the hardest 9 days of my life. I did not know how I was going to make it another 9 days. But he kept in contact with me, and every step of the way. And when I left, I got on the airport I had no clothes. I literally had the clothes on my back. I had $1 in my pocket. That's it. I had $1. Had no ID, no social security card. Everything had been stolen. I hadn't showered in weeks. I actually felt bad for the people sitting next to me on the plane. It was so bad. But then I went to Huntington Beach Treatment Center, and I met my best friend, Sean, there. He's absolutely amazing. And they just loved me back to health. Like, they taught me that my life was worth living. And I remember, like, I had been there like 30 days, and I was still feeling like I didn't fit in. Everyone else, like, knew where they were going in life and knew what they wanted out of everything. And I was just a scared little girl that would like shudder every time a guy came in the room, because I was just so scared and so timid. And I was honestly going to go back to Oklahoma because I just didn't feel connected to anything. I didn't know anyone out here, didn't have any money. And they took us to this event where it was like this concert, and everybody had set up their stuff outside, and they were like selling things. And I remember thinking, like, I don't have any money, so I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I really hope, remember my anxiety was going crazy, because I was like, if they have like a cover charge to get in, I'm just gonna have to turn around and leave. It's gonna be so embarrassing. And I was just freaking out. And I walked past this tent, and I hear this guy holler, "Hey, hey." And I turned around, and it said "Stay Stopped" real big on the top of it. And he was like, "You look a little lost." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "Don't worry about it." And he puts this hat on my head that said "Stay Humble" and a shirt. And I never felt like I belonged more than in that moment right there. That changed everything in my life. I went from this scared little girl that didn't know what she was doing to someone that knew what she wanted to do. And I had a purpose immediately. Like, someone believed in me. And so from that point on, like, that lit a fire underneath me. I automatically enrolled in college. I got my rad T. I started working in treatment. I also started working for Hope Fiend. There's so much. Now I facilitate groups. I'm a case manager. I'm studying to get my KDAC. I had lost all contact with my my 4 children, but now I can talk to 2 of them, which is really awesome. My little brother, he actually stayed in his addiction, and that was probably the hardest thing for me in my sobriety, was like knowing he was still in his addiction and not being able to save him. There was actually one point that I left California and I went to Oklahoma and got an apartment. And I was like, because I could not get him on a plane to come out here. And I was scared I was going to lose my brother. So I went back, and it was okay at first. And then the next thing I know, he's got my apartment full of stolen stuff. And there's like, it's just crazy. So he ended up catching like 7 felonies. And he was like, I bailed him out of jail. And I said, "You're done. We're going to California." So we hopped on a plane, we came back out, and now he is like 67 days sober, and we get to go to meetings together, and he's got a sponsor, and it's absolutely beautiful. I have a relationship with my mom now. I hadn't talked to her in forever. But yeah, so back then, like, I had nothing, and I had nobody. And now I've got my family back in my life. I've got people that want to spend time with me, like, just to spend time with me. They're not wanting to use me for something that I have, or, you know, chill at my house because they don't have one. I can honestly like look myself in the mirror and I'm proud of the person that I see today. And that says a lot because for 15 years I absolutely hated what I seen in the mirror. I would avoid mirrors. I always knew I was like destined for more, but I never knew how to get there. Like when you're raised like in Oklahoma doesn't have the treatment that California does. So there it's just 90-day lockdown and it's almost like a jail. Here they like take you to beaches and show you what life can be if you're sober. You know, I always thought it was gonna be like super boring and super sad. And I was like never gonna like love life ever. But honestly, getting on a plane and coming to California is the best decision I ever made in my life. It was definitely a hard one. I mean, I had $1 in my pocket. I was going to a place I'd never been. I didn't know anybody here. I was pretty convinced I was getting sex trafficked and I just didn't know it. But it was definitely the best thing I ever did. And now I talk to my 16-year-old daughter on a nightly basis. It's really cool. We talk about everything. She trusts me with boyfriend advice, and you know that one's kind of hard, but I like that she comes to me for that stuff now. But yeah, that's my story. If you'd like to hit me up on IG, it's LifeFiend101, and I also work for Stay.Stopped.